Hi, I'm Teresa. Teresa Freitas. I'm the photographer hosting this exhibition, Springtime Delight. I was born and live in Portugal, in Lisbon. And yeah, I'm here in Seoul for my first solo exhibition. I'm really excited and really happy to be here.
한국에서 첫 전시를 하셨는데 소감이 궁금합니다.
It's amazing. I've been so lucky with the Korean audience. They are very kind, very supportive, very engaged. It's been really a pleasure to see them interact with the exhibition. And I always wanted my first solo exhibition to be special. And I think having it here in Seoul, which is an amazing city, now in spring with the cherry blossoms, I feel really, really lucky, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here.
평소 한국이라는 나라에 대해서 어떻게 생각하셨고 전시를 통해 발견한 한국의 매력은 무엇인가요?
I've been loving so far Korea. I arrived early this week, and as I said before, I was very lucky to be able to catch the cherry blossoms in full bloom in Seoul. I haven't visited the rest of Korea yet. I hope to visit a little bit more and maybe come back if it's possible. But yeah, I've been loving Koreans. It's been really special. I think Seoul is such a very modern and fantastic city. It's really energetic and lively. So yeah, I've been loving what I've seen so far.
그러면 한국에 와서 어떤 것들을 하셨나요?
I've basically been walking around. That's what I do as a photographer. I like to get up in the morning, leave the hotel, and just explore the city by foot, sometimes by subway because the distances can be a little bit further away. But yeah, I've been visiting a lot of different neighborhoods, the most historical ones, the most modern ones. I've seen the palaces and the gardens, so I've been exploring everything by foot and taking pictures. So it's been an absolute joy for me. The weather is good, the sun is out, the colors are beautiful. So yeah, it's been amazing.
그러면 한국에서 가장 찍고 싶은 장소가 있나요?
I hope I'm going to Jeju Island soon. I also wanted to visit Busan and Gyeongju, I think it's the name. Hope I'm saying it correctly. But yeah, honestly, from what I've seen, I would love to visit every little place in Korea because it's such a lovely country that I would love to get to know it a little bit more.
그러면 이 장소가 서울인데 서울에서는 어디를 가장 가보고 싶은가요?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but I've been taking pictures of old villages, and I loved taking pictures in the palaces where some people and some, especially girls, are wearing the traditional Korean suits, and it's beautiful to see. I love taking pictures there. And now I want to go to some neighborhoods that I hope I can take some nice pictures just of residential places and also some parks and gardens. Yeah, I kind of want to explore every different neighborhood in Seoul and visit the food market too.
그러면 코로나 이후에 여행에 있어서 제약이 있었는데 작업적인 측면에서 달라진 점은 뭔가요?
Yeah, for sure. I'm used to traveling at least 2-3 times a year to take pictures and explore new places. And all of a sudden, in 2020, I got a lot of my trips canceled and I couldn't travel and take new photographs. So I had to explore only in Portugal and try to come up with new pictures there. So yeah, it definitely affected my photography, but thankfully now it seems to get a little bit better. I'm here in Seoul, I made it. So this means that maybe we'll start getting back to traveling little by little. And yeah, I'm very excited for the places that I'm yet to visit. But yeah, let's see how it goes.
그러면 무엇을 찍을까에 대한 것들을 어떻게 정하시나요?
Yeah, there are a couple of things I look for when I'm photographing. One is a lot of sunlight. I need light and shadow because light is the mother of color. And color is definitely what I look for the most in my work. My work is definitely focused around a specific palette. You see a lot of pinks and blues and yellows and oranges, but all in a pastel color. So that's what I'm trying to look for the most. And then regarding subjects, I have a little bit of the both sides of nature, where we see the flowers and the open country fields, and then the city. So they're very contrasting, but it's something that I really enjoy. I like exploring cities and just trying to figure out what's the color for each city.
그러면 작가님께서 카메라 셔터를 누르고 싶게 하는 건 뭔가요?
Yes, I think I'm very drawn to architecture interplaying with local life, and of course, if I see certain colors and palettes that I like, I'm immediately attracted to pick up the camera and take the photograph. But yeah, it's definitely being aware of your surroundings and finding the little details that make you catch your attention. I can't say specifically what makes me pick up. I think it's mostly instinct. I already know what type of images I like and how they're going to look after I do my color treatment with them. So it's something that you develop throughout the years, this instinct that makes you see, okay, this would be a good photograph for me. Yeah, it really depends on the city, on the place, on the time. I'm really attracted by coincidences and color match and different color harmonies that you can find all over the place.
그러면 어떤 색감을 좋아하시나요?
Yeah, like I mentioned, there's a number of colors that I really enjoy, which is mostly pink and blue, yellows, greens, but basically all colors, but in their pastel tones. So in a lighter, softer tone that at the same time has a little bit of a pop. There are some colors that are brighter and more saturated than others. So yeah, basically I like colorful places, and then through my color work and through my color editing, I can make them softer or brighter depending on what I'm looking for.
그러면 처음 사진은 어쩌다가 찍기 시작했고 어떻게 직업으로 이어졌나요?
I started taking pictures with my phone, with my camera on my smartphone. I didn't have any specific purpose for it. I was just looking to just register the daily life and daily stuff that I come across during my walks. And then it eventually developed in exploring more of creative photography and color editing. When I started to travel more, I started to discover that I really like to document cities, but then slightly change them into something a little bit more dreamlike or more with a more surreal feeling, and that was done through color. But yeah, the first images that I took were just images with my phone. I took them on Instagram, I put a filter on them, and that was it. But then when I realized that with a digital camera, I could explore color more deeply, and I had more control over the settings and the colors that were able to edit after. That's when my taste for photography really grew. I started to get noticed by brands and other companies that asked me to take photographs for them or travel to places and document them and share with the world. And yeah, I think it was just a time when I had more photography work and it gave me more pleasure than what I was doing professionally, which was mostly design and video. And yeah, that's I just took a leap and now I'm here.
한국에서는 사진으로 먹고 살기 힘들다는 말을 하는데 사진 그리고 좋아하는 일로 먹고 살 수 있는 작가님만의 팁이 있나요?
Not only in Korea, in Portugal it's the same too, and in a lot of places in the world it's really difficult sometimes to be a photographer full time and just live out of your photography. The tips I could give is, what worked for me at least was to create a very strong identity and a signature look that was different from most things that were seen at the time, and that made me or made brands or companies more aware of my style. I started to appear in magazines, so it's important to really explore photography in new ways. It's important to submit your work to journals or newspapers or magazines that might want to feature a project that you have. It's important that you also create personal work, create the work that you want to be hired for. So for example, I wanted to be hired to do more travel and share new places. So I tried to get in touch with tourism offices in different countries or cities. And for example, I do a lot of still life work as well, photography, photographing products. So I created a personal portfolio with product photography, and that made some other brands more aware that that was a possibility for them to hire me to shoot for their products. So it's really important to keep creating a portfolio that you can show to brands and show what you want to be hired for. Yeah.
사진을 잘 찍는다는 건 뭐라고 생각을 하세요?
I think that depends a lot on my personal interpretation. I think what is a good photograph for me might not be a good photograph for you. For me, I'm mostly looking at composition and color harmony, how colors interact with each other and give a certain mood or feeling or a subtle strangeness even. For me, a good photograph is one that when you're scrolling on your phone, it makes you stop and look a little bit more. I like photographs that have some detail or something that catches your eye, something that pops from the picture and makes you stop for a bit and appreciate it. It really depends. I take so many different pictures of different subjects, so there's a different good photograph of flowers, there's a different good photograph of a city. It's normally on instinct as well. It's something that you feel you like, and sometimes you don't really have to explain why. There doesn't have to be a very strong meaning to why you like the picture. It's just something that you enjoy looking at, and it gives you a moment of pure visual pleasure and nothing more.
그러면 작가님만의 봄을 즐기는 법이 있나요?
Yeah, taking photographs. It's how I enjoy everything really. Photography made me more aware and more observant of the things that are happening around me, because I'm always very attentive to what's happening and what I'm looking for in a place. So springtime for me is a time where I love going to the countryside. I love going to Alentejo, which is the countryside of Portugal. It's a beautiful place in spring because the wildflowers are blooming, the skies are blue, you have a huge plain that stretches over to infinity. And yeah, this is basically what I like doing the most in spring is traveling. Traveling during spring is my favorite way to go through it. Yeah.
사진을 보면서 색감이 너무 예쁘다는 생각이 들었는데 색감을 내기 위한 비결이 있나요?
Yeah, I work a lot with color theory and color harmony, which is basically studying how colors interact with each other, what colors go well with what colors, and what kind of mood or tone they create to an image. I basically, besides looking for specific colors when I'm out photographing, then when I get home, I sit down on the computer and I use an editing software to basically manipulate colors mostly. I put for example, the blues either more cyan or more purple. It really depends on what I think the picture asks. Sometimes it's very quick and immediate and I can figure out exactly what I want to do with my color editing, and sometimes it takes hours or I have to stop and then look back at the pictures sometime before, sometime after, and then realize what the picture is asking for. So it's really about spending time with the picture and changing exposure, lightness, hue saturation settings in the colors so I can bring it all together in a consistent look.
그러면 여행이란 뭐라고 생각하세요? 동네 산책을 여행이라고 하진 않잖아요. 여행이 주는 의미가 궁금해요.
I think traveling is what makes you learn about other people, other cultures, other ways of seeing architecture, other ways of exploring cities. It's really the way to open up your mind and open up your horizons and really get excited about learning about a specific country or place. Traveling is really what gives me the most joy because I always learn something new. I really enjoy taking photographs and documenting them in my own way, documenting these places in my own way. So for me, it's just a really special moment where I'm coming closer together with a city or place. I think traveling is all about the experience that you have that you haven't had before.
작가님께서 놓친 순간 중에 다시 왔으면 하는 것들이 있나요? 그리고 그 순간에 어떤 모습을 포착하고 싶나요?
There is always a matter of finding the right timing in photography, and especially when you're doing street photography in the city, you can easily miss those moments. And one thing I try to do is minimize the distractions when I'm out shooting. Try not to look at my phone, for example, and just be very focused and aware of what's happening. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit for the right timing. So for example, if I'm photographing a nice building but I want someone to appear, maybe I have to wait for the person with the right clothing to appear, and I have to stand there for a little bit of time to be able to catch what I think would be a good photograph. And sometimes it's something more interesting is happening right on your back and you missed it. I tend not to think about the things I've missed too much. I think there's no point in just focusing on what you miss. I think it's more important to focus on what you actually got and were able to photograph and try to work with that. But yeah, I would love to visit some cities again that I guess what I miss is having more time to explore different parts of a city. So maybe sometimes I only have 2 or 3 days to explore it, and I miss having 5 or 6 days to explore it.
그러면 예전에는 많은 사람들이 자신만의 작품을 보여줄 기회가 별로 없었지만 요즘에는 SNS를 통해 많은 사람들에게 자신의 작품을 보여주고 기회가 생겨나는데요. 작가님에게 SNS는 어떤 의미인가요?
Yeah, that's completely right. I think social media made photography more democratic. It allowed for people to explore their passion and even potential for photography, like myself. If I didn't have social media and a phone to capture and start capturing images, I would have never discovered this passion I had for photography, and especially for street photography or for urban photography. For me, it meant a lot of things. It meant discovering that passion, discovering that potential, being able to get noticed by brands and by companies that were on social media and magazines or newspapers that would feature my work. It just made photography much more accessible and reachable to anyone. Anyone can become a photographer, and you don't need an expensive camera to be one.
작가님에게 영감을 주는 건 뭔가요?
I'm inspired by a lot of things. I think there's maybe influences and inspirations. I think I was very influenced by painting the color work of master painters and cinema. And then inspiration can come on a daily basis. It's maybe something you've seen on the street, it's something that someone said, it can be something from a movie or a TV show, specific colors or palettes that you see around you. So inspiration can be a photo that you scroll through and it really catches your eye. In terms of influences, it's definitely painting and cinema that really allowed me to explore this this idea of color and setting a tone through color in my work.
무엇을 보여줄까를 어떻게 정하세요? 모든 사진들이 작품이 되진 않잖아요.
I'm not sure. I think it's very subjective what you choose to photograph. You just have the feeling that, okay, I want to capture it, and you do. You don't really think much about it. I actually like capturing a little bit of everything, and something that might appear not so attractive to someone, I think through my color work I can make it a little bit more appealing. And yeah, it's not really an objective choice that I choose. It's more I go to the places where I know I'll find things that I want to photograph, either in nature and flower fields, or in cities that I already know that I'm going to enjoy exploring. And I think every city has the potential for photography, so it's really a matter of just being having a lot of attention of the things happening around you, and just go with the feeling and instinct that says take the photograph.
그러면 스스로를 색으로 나타낸다면 무슨 색일 것 같으세요?
I like to use soft and calming yet bright tones at the same time in one image. So you have the pastel tones in some colors, but then you have a color that pops. People usually refer this as a pastel aesthetic. Yeah, it's basically a very light and a little bit feminine look to my color work, and that's pretty much how I would describe it.
그럼 요즘 떠나고 싶은 여행지는 어딘가요? 그리고 이유는 뭔가요?
Yeah, I have a lot of countries and cities I'd love to visit. I have a bucket list that I'm still checking items off. I would love to go to Cuba, to Mexico, to Japan. I wanted to come to Korea, but now I'm here, so that I can check off the list. And then there are, many other places in the world, cities. I would love to visit more of the United States, even explore more around Europe, where I'm from, and it's a little bit easier. So yeah, basically a lot of countries. There's a big list, and hopefully I'll be able to visit soon. I'll also want to visit India.
그러면 작가님 인생에 기대하는 그날이 있나요?
A day? If there's a specific day I'm looking forward. Honestly, that's a difficult question. I'm not sure if there's a specific day. I know that I'm always looking forward to spring during the whole year. That's always the time where I'm looking forward, because it's not only the time where I travel more, but it's the time where I enjoy photographing the most. A specific day, then it should be, March 21st, when it's the first day of spring. But now that we're here, I guess in the near future, I'm looking forward to go to Jeju Island in South Korea this week.
작가님께서 항상 가지고 다니는 것들이 있나요?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I need my phone with me all the time when I'm traveling, because it's where I see directions, where I'm able to look for everything that I need to. And my camera is, of course, always in my bag. Normally, more during traveling or days I know I'm going to photograph, I don't carry, it's a very big and heavy camera, so I don't carry it with me every day during daily life. Some more items, I need a lot of water, especially when you're traveling and walking around, so you need a bottle of water to carry with you. And yeah, that's basically it. I think something that allows me to take pictures and stay hydrated.
어떻게 하면 순간 포착을 잘 할 수 있을까요?
Yeah, I think something happens when you see an attractive moment or appealing, interesting moment, and then you have to really explore it from different perspectives. So maybe you see someone sitting on a bench on a garden, and you think, oh, this is beautiful, I want to photograph it. But don't just take the picture and that's it. Explore some different angles, get down, go on the sides, wait for another subject to come into the image. So really spend time with the image, and you can be picky and come back another day to maybe take a better picture of it. In photography, I think it's important to look at composition and color in a special way. So I think my tip would be to really spend time learning more about it. It can be instinct, and I'm more of an instinctive photographer. I didn't learn the techniques first. I was experimenting a lot, taking a lot of pictures every day, and then eventually I ended up studying more about color theory and composition techniques. So yeah, just spend time with photography. If you really enjoy it on your free time, explore it more and take pictures every day. And that will lead you to become a better photographer and a better observer of the things that are happening around you and what makes a good photograph for you.
그러면 잊지 못할 순간은 언제인가요?
Yeah, in my travels, each city always gives me a special moment, and now I think the most special moment I will never forget is this exhibition, my first exhibition in Korea. It's definitely one moment that will stay in my memory forever.
작가님에게 행복을 주는 건 뭔가요?
Yeah, color gives me happiness, and spring and flowers and just a sunny day where the day looks beautiful and the light is just right. That's what gives me the most happiness.
그러면 사진을 찍으면서 발견한 테레사 프레이타스는 어떤 사람인가요?
Yeah, it's someone who really enjoys color and beautiful palettes and beautiful places around the world. It's someone who is observant of the things happening around her, someone who is curious, someone who tries to document what she is feeling through photography and then give that emotion back to the viewers.
마지막으로 좋아하는 일로 행복하게 먹고 살고 싶어하는 수많은 사람들에게 한마디.
Yeah, I want to say that it's important to really spend the time in doing and practicing and learning about what you want to do. A passion is good, but you need to practice. Talent is good, but you need to practice. You have to do the work in order to get noticed, in order to be able to live off what you love doing. But yeah, never lose that feeling of passion and what makes you like that specific type of work. In case of photography, I spent, I don't know, almost 8 years. It's been a long time since I started, and it took me a long time to develop my creative style, to figure out a signature look and how I could distinguish myself from other photographers. So yeah, never give up, of course, and really invest the time you have in getting better.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.